Good morning, everybody. This is Cooler Talk with Rhonda and Cynthia. I think Cynthia will be joining us in a moment or two. Just one of those days. Oops. Just one of those days where the schedule's off just a little bit. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic is about independence and freedom. We thought this would fit nicely into the 4th of July week here in the United States. And what we were talking about is that basically that we were born free and that we can choose or unchoose the bondage of fear and self-limiting beliefs. Fortunately, it's I guess as the older we get, the more we learn our own thought processes. We Oh God, here she is. Okay. Okay, off to a rough start. Hello, Cynthia. Good to see you this morning.
Hey.
The theme is independence and freedom. And as we talked about last week, it's about the fear of unchoosing the bondage of limited beliefs and fear. I know you had a lot of thoughts about that, and I'm going to hit you right up uh,
Okay.
with sharing your thoughts about this. And
Okay.
happy birthday, America! Happy belated birthday! And
Yeah.
I hope the celebrations around the country were everything everybody expected them to be.
Yeah. Yeah. It was I had a great weekend. Some of you might know that I share my birthday with America's birthday week. So my birthday's on the 2nd of July. So usually that's
Yeah.
my reminder that America's about to celebrate its big day. And it's really
And
interesting
happy
because
belated birthday to you.
thank you, thank you. It's really interesting living in Europe after having grown up in the States and realizing that people here are very much in tune with the U.S. Independence Day holiday. Like everybody knows on, July 4th, whether it's a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, that America basically has the day off that they're celebrating their freedom. And I think it's something that I think Americans aren't aware of is how
Mhm.
important the celebration is not only for the freedom of its citizens but also as an example to how I guess other governing bodies can really sort of govern its people with that option. um, this isn't going to be a political discussion about like
No,
whether there should be an
right.
Independence Day for everybody or a constitution or what have you. I really am not like a political scientist, but it does. I'm always, again, delightfully surprised to realize the awareness of at least
Mhm.
the European world of that celebration. And I think
Mhm.
that is something worth celebrating as well,
Mhm.
because it's not just about the freedom of the citizens of one country. It's really about like that option for humanity, and
Mhm.
it's a reminder every year that it is an option. Um, so,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. We may have our freedom, but we have self-limiting beliefs that actually do imprison us.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
we imprison ourselves with natural being who we are and being
Yep.
full of abundance and joy and love, um,
Yes.
which is really we were born with that as a natural state.
Yes. Freedom
Really
is
were.
our birthright. Hey, good morning, April. It's good to see you joining us.
Hi,
I
April.
hopefully you celebrated your independence last weekend. Yeah, I
She
certainly did.
did.
What did you do, Rhonda?
Uh, well, don't I not much.
Uh-huh. That's okay. You're free not to do anything.
Uh, yeah, I did things around the house and did some gardening.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just normal day things.
Mm-hmm.
I I missed the fireworks, but that's okay. I could hear them loud.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our
Mm-hmm.
community center is just down the street, and they have this beautiful area where there's concerts and
Mm-hmm.
the fireworks. So I didn't get my calendar marked because that occurred the night before, but that's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. You know,
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you mentioned something very important, where you kicked off by saying that freedom is how we're born. Even when we're like born in let's say less than ideal circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
we do have free will. And we do hear about stories. Oh, it's really interesting, actually, that we're talking about this because my husband's been doing a lot of reading lately. And the other day, he just finished reading the autobiography of Frederick Douglass.
Oh,
And
wow.
again, I'm not going to get into the politics of slavery and American history, but um, this is a man, he was born as a slave in the South. That was his destiny. And his autobiography is how he actually, escaped. He was basically a fugitive from the plantation that he was sort of born into. And he headed north. He taught himself to read, to write. I think he ended up becoming a lawyer, if I remember correctly. And that was what we talked about, my husband and I, over this weekend. I didn't even make the connection that we happened to be talking about that over Independence Day weekend.
Mm.
But the point being that, like, that is the direction I think that we as humans always strive for. And even, there are a lot of us that sometimes we find ourselves in jobs that aren't the right fit and we think we don't have a choice, but there's
Mhm.
always a choice. And I think a lot of the self employed people that you and I talk to, Rhonda, and engage with, it is a choice. Sometimes it's not an easy choice, and sometimes it's not an easy shift to make, but it is a possibility. In fact, it's probably the most natural state to be headed in,
Mhm.
is the direction of freedom as opposed to the direction of bondage, which
Mhm.
is within your right as well, but it's probably going to be uncomfortable. And you'll probably want to leave that choice when you have that choice.
Yeah, once you realize that there's a better way, a more positive way, a more feel good way to
Hmm.
live, a more abundant way to live, then once that realization sets in, it's worth
Hmm.
fighting for. It's worth
Yes.
fighting to change that old way of life
Yeah.
into a new way of life. And not
Yeah.
everybody's going to come with you on that.
No.
Um, and but it's your life,
Yeah.
not someone else's life. And I think there are so many restrictions we're taught that sooner or later that kind of implodes because if you're one of those people that just knows deep down in your heart there's got to be a better way, then you start asking questions and start looking around and seeing, well, what can I do? And then start experimenting. And that's what the nice thing about entrepreneurship is, that you have the
Hmm.
freedom to do all of that.
Mhm.
Fortunately, I have had jobs in which I had the freedom to do that as
Mhm.
well, um, in many respects. Uh, but um,
I am
freedom,
really inspired by like everything you just said, Rhonda, because one thing that I think is already freeing from the way that you said what you said is like we like to think, oh, there's got to be something better. And yes, that is a motivating feeling. But actually, like you said, it's not necessarily better from an objective standpoint. It's really
Mhm,
there is a way that feels better to me, which yes, it's more subjective, but that's what's motivating. Knowing that, like, oh, no, I want to have this experience that feels better to me is definitely
mhm,
more motivating than, I want to have that experience that I think it might be better or that people tell me is better. And
mhm,
I think that's kind of like the art of following your freedom is really sort of understanding, you know, what as an idea or as a concept, because we are moving
mhm,
into like a future place, feels
mhm,
better when I think about it now versus, well, somebody told me that like working in this scenario is a better thing, but it's like better according to who and according to like whose
mhm,
idea of what a good life or the right life is.
mhm,
Um, and,
mhm,
and there's a lot of freedom even just in recognizing what that feel good, opportunity
mhm.
is for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and once one learns how to pay attention to how they physically feel, I
Yes.
mean, um, there's an energizing effect to
Yes.
thinking in terms of I'm moving towards this instead
Yes.
of getting away from. That has
Yes.
a negative connotation to it, and
Yes.
there's a different energy associated
Mhm.
with that,
Mhm.
but when you can look out and say, "This is where I wanna go, this is where I'm going, this is who I want to be, who I want to be with, what I
Mhm.
wanna do, and how I want to affect change."
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
just I'm getting a chill just talking
Yeah,
about
me
how
too, me too. I'm getting goosebumps just hearing you
it's
say it.
just so energizing
Yeah.
to feel that way,
Yeah.
and it does involve a lot of unlearning.
Yes. Yes. But in
I don't
all the
know.
good ways. In
Yes,
all the good
yes.
ways, like, in a way, it's kind of like, "Oh, yes, yes, I wanna unlearn."
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I want to focus on the things that serve for the good,
Mhm, mhm,
not that are restricting and confining
mhm,
and putting me in bondage, the
mhm,
bondage of self, if you will.
mhm.
Um,
Or
yeah,
even
it's
just the bondage of your mind patterns, and we talk a lot about mindset on this program, and, remember that, like, we do things usually out of habit. We sort
mhm,
of create these neural pathways that have served
mhm.
us really well coming up until this point. But then at some point, sometimes we realize, like, yeah, I think I'm in a rut. Like, but I don't really know how to move beyond that rut, right? And carving brand new neural pathways, it's it is a bit uncomfortable, but that is the freedom as well.
Now, April made a comment that she
Uh-huh.
was chatting with someone about how she wished to share value with people, and they responded with, "April, you are
Oh,
value." And
yes.
that is
Yes.
so true. It's,
Yes.
you know, just by being herself,
Mhm.
she's bringing value to her industry, to her family, to
Mhm.
herself, to her
Mhm.
surroundings, and if you will, to the universe. She's given out
Mhm.
that positivity. Um, I'm.
I just wanna say, yes, it is freeing, April, and yes, you are value. And actually, I'm gonna turn around to you too, Rhonda, and say, you are value. I am value, and it is freeing because it's a return to our original
Yeah.
knowing,
Yes.
and when you were talking earlier about that, moving forward and going towards like what makes you feel good, I felt like a kid just listening to you because that's kids aren't like thinking about like what they should be doing in the future
Right.
and how many millions they need to have in their retirement plan, like what? Like I want to go to school. I want to go to Disney World. I want it like everything is possible. I want to be president. I want to be an astronaut. Anything is possible. There's nothing in their mind yet that has said like, "Who do you think you are?" or, "Why do you wanna be a
Yeah.
nurse?" or "What how could you bring
What
value?" That nobody questions that, including that child, and it's like, yes, that's the natural state of being, to be
yeah.
free, to recognize your value.
My housemate has a daughter who just turned 13.
Oh.
That young girl came to her mother recently and said, because she has these character, she has very talented young girl,
Mhm,
and she has these characters, and she said, "Mom, I want to create this world,
mhm,
and I want to have 1 million followers on
mhm.
YouTube."
Okay.
13 years old thinking like this
Mhm.
because her surroundings are encouraging her to be open and free with her thinking and her
Yes.
creativity. And
Yeah.
she's coming up with these things all on her own. And this like, young one's gonna do it.
Yes, 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 and this older one is gonna do something.
You are already doing something. Oh my gosh.
I'm
That
I'm doing things,
your
but
writing and creativity skills are
yeah.
just they're inspiring and to me unsurpassed,
Oh,
and
thanks.
they're insightful and giving.
Thanks, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, one freeing notion that I had a few days ago, I was at a female manager sort of leadership program. And one thing that I realized during that was this is a journey. I know it sounds
Mhm.
cliche. It's
Yeah.
about the journey, not the destination, but this is truth. It is a journey. Let's be honest, like you'll never feel like you've made it because that's what moving forward is. That's what being excited and passionate about life is. It's like you want to go for what's next. You want to go for what's next. And that's okay. You need to be energized, though, by that feeling of freedom and motion towards freedom, not, holding yourself back in that movement, and I
Now I
think we
want to
talked
throw
about
some
that a little bit in
I
terms
want to
of
throw
keeping
something
score.
in there that we can do this in spite of our surroundings.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, and
In spite of them, I have met and known people who have overcome unbelievable obstacles,
yeah,
and they were able to remain calm and focused when
yes,
everything around them was full of chaos. So
yes,
just know that
yes,
it can be done in spite of your surroundings, whatever
yes,
those surroundings are.
yeah. What's the trick? Keep your eye on the prize. What's the prize? Feeling good.
Mhm.
If you can maintain that stretch towards feeling good no matter what's happening around you, feeling good in spite of what's happening around you,
Mhm.
not even sort of, and I know like you will get some feedback from others like, okay, you're not being realistic, or like, oh, there she goes again being woo woo. But
But I have
we
personally witnessed this
yes,
happening.
yes.
I can't deny what I've seen and experienced.
Yes, feel good in spite of the circumstances, and I know, like, we all know, like, the US is being tested right now. It seems like
Mhm.
the US is being tested, like, every month. Um, but, like, that wasn't our focus, but the point is we are free to reach for that good feeling
Mhm.
thought. Nobody can take that away from you.
Mm-mm. No, no.
Nobody.
And you think of the stories you've read about the people that survived the Nazi concentration camps.
Mhm.
I mean,
Frederick Douglass.
if that's not a testament and
Mhm.
example of overcoming adversity,
Yeah.
by because all of how that comes from within.
Yep.
Learn to believe in yourself.
Yep.
Learn to believe that you are a valuable and worthwhile human being, not just a person,
Mhm.
a human being,
Mhm.
and that there is so much inside to give. Just
Mhm.
find a way to to free yourself from what is what those bars, those locked doors. So we find ways to open those doors. Um,
I do really appreciate your, visualization, and while you were talking, I just had this thought flash that crossed my mind that said, you know, you you are more than your meat suit.
yeah.
That- Now that I say it out loud, it sounds really funny. But and I kind of know this. Like I know that I'm not this meat suit walking around. Like that there is when I think of who I am as a being, I don't think about my curly hair and my, brown eyes and my, 10 fingers that can type. Those aren't the things I think of. The things I do is not what I think of. The way that I look is not what I think of. What I think of is actually um, the connections that I have with people and how I feel. And
Mhm,
those feelings are expansive and they can, like if I go into a
mhm.
meditation, I can, float thousands of miles above the earth, which I
And
know
and what
those
and what you're talking about is not a self-centered mindset. This is
no.
the self-centered
Mm-mm.
mindset is me, 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 me. I only think about me. And
Mhm.
if that I feel good. No, we're
Mhm.
going way beyond that.
Yeah.
This is not the self-centeredness because when you feel good inside, you want to give to others.
Mhm.
When you feel whole, um, when you feel, I can't, how do you describe this
It's the self
spirituality?
Yeah, it's self-knowing that recognizes that it is an extension of the energy that flows through all of life. You
Mhm.
know, you know you're not different from ultimately the tree or even a rock. A rock has energy. And I know that we're heading into woo-woo territory I love, but this matters if you're serious about building a business because when you recognize that you are more than just, your body, your 10 fingers, your mouse and your screen, you can start connecting with people at the heart level, at
Mhm.
a mind level, at a
Mhm.
level that goes beyond just the words that you use, at a level where there's like an understanding that happens even when
Mhm.
words aren't being exchanged.
Yes.
And people tell you this. They'll say things like, you know, I don't know, like, "This is the first time I've ever met you," or, like, "I saw you the other day on a
Mhm.
video, and I totally connected with you."
Mhm.
I don't know like, I don't know you, but I'm, like, connecting with you too, and there's some people you might have never even seen them in person, You might have never heard their voice, but, like, you're connecting and you're sending
Mhm.
messages back and forth
Mhm.
completely in tune, and it's because of your energy, it's because of
Mhm.
your self-knowing, and that commitment to that, and
Mhm.
that's really our big job, and actually,
Mhm.
it's the hardest job, but the best job. And it's the
Mhm.
funnest job and the most fulfilling.
Mhm.
Thank you, April, for all of your hearts because, like,
Yes.
that's the connection. I know that you have that with your people, people that you've met
Mhm.
in the flesh, but people that you've only met digitally as well. Um, yeah, that's that's our reality, and we have to stop limiting our thinking that, the connections that we're making are only evidenced by a transaction,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know? Yeah, we
definitely.
we give ourselves a hard time. Like, let's free ourselves, we don't need to keep score of, how many leads did we generate this week and how many dollars did we make today. It just you will be stuck in a rut and you will not be moving towards that feel good place if you constantly return to those key performance indicators,
Mhm.
which is a word that makes me get like weird because I just don't get inspired by
Yeah.
words like that.
The greatest to me, that one of the greatest feel-good places of all time is giving without expectation
Oh
of
yeah.
receiving.
And you are a natural at that, Rhonda.
Oh, thank
You
you.
do. You do. You do. You do. That's
Aw.
what water cooler is.
Yeah.
You know, you were like, "What are we gonna do a show about?" "I don't know, but I hope people get value."
Oh gosh. And it's almost 10 o'clock already, and
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
sadly, we're gonna have to end this discussion. Thank you so much, April, for your input and your feedback. We always appreciate what you have to say, and
Yes.
we invite our other watchers to pipe in and
Yeah.
uh, contribute too. We love it.
Yeah.
And with
Thank you,
that,
April.
that's our cooler talk for this week. Independence and freedom is the general top was the general topic. We hope you found value in it, and please give us your comments. We're going to say ciao for now,
Uh-huh.
and wish you a fabulous, wonderful day and week.
See you next week, Thursdays, 9:30.